wanted to talk to you guys about this exciting project. And first of all, congratulations, Heather, on your career in regards to the number of iconic shows that you have worked on. I particularly loved Southland. I hate that they took that away.
Thank you.
Um, I thought that it was a great, great show. But sometimes, I guess in Hollywood, they make decisions that, on the outside doesn't make sense. But anyway,
Thank you.
you have another multifaceted, all engrossing, enthralling show in regards to BMF. And I wanted to talk to you about what was it about this, since you've done ER and you've done the West Wing, what was it about this that made it so attractive? Because I actually saw the end of Black Mafia Family when I first moved to Atlanta. So I saw it actually take place as
Yes.
it was about to end. So I wanted to know, how much fidelity you wanted to have to what actually took place, but then incorporate the dramatic aspects that you have to make a series or a movie.
Well, this one, thank you for being a fan and for tracking everything. This one was like a no-brainer for me. Randy Huggins, who created BMF, is from Detroit, watched it all unfold as you did, and he and I worked on Power together, the mothership. And I remember when he asked me if I wanted to come be his right hand season two, first thing I thought, oh man, you know what? I already worked on a drug show. Then he sent me the scripts, and it is so much more. It is a family drama, and it was the family aspects, the religious aspects, and the heart of it. It's such a special show, and Big Meech led with love with his organization. Randy infused all that heart and love into the series, and I knew it was special. And here we are now. For me, I've been on it 3 seasons and getting to tell a story where people are still alive, where our audience knows it's a little bit like the Titanic. We you know how it's going to end. The boys are headed for an iceberg at some point. And so getting to tell the story about two cultural icons and then getting to dramatize it, create goals for our heroes, and throw in as many difficult obstacles to get in their way. That's what we get to do as storytellers. And it's just been such a fun and meaningful and wild ride.
Yeah, and so since you have been on every aspect of behind the scenes of a movie, of a series, as a writer, as a producer, as an executive producer, as a showrunner, I don't know if I distinguish, we the ordinary layman don't always are able to distinguish between showrunner and executive producer. But anyway, you've been on all over it.
Yeah.
So how much being a writer and being a producer before being a showrunner helped to prepare you for something as grand and as culturally iconic as capturing people who are not only alive, they're relatively young, relatively speaking. How much was that helpful to you?
Well, it's very helpful because we can go to the sources, we can go to the real source and we can take real aspects and then we can dramatize them and then we can also make up a bunch of stuff too, which is really fun. We start out as well, you work your way up. I started as a production assistant, worked my way up, was an assistant for 5 years, and you get your first writing job. You start as a writer and then you work up to kind of this producing title. And if you have a showrunner who advocates for their writers being on set, then you get to produce. And you have to really be on set and produce and collaborate because in the room, right, it's the ground zero. We take the idea, but in production, as producers, we execute it and we collaborate with our team. So, getting to collaborate with our directors, with our cast, with our crew, all of our very talented department heads, that's how we take it across the finish line. And everybody has their own expertise and does their research to make it as authentic as possible.
Yeah. And I think you were like me. I had first moved to Atlanta and I kept hearing about BMF or Black Mafia Family, but I didn't know anything really about it.
Hmm.
What did you, and you touched upon in the beginning, what did you learn about them through your research, and what did you want to convey to the audience that you have? Because it's the show is great, but what did you want to make sure that you conveyed about them, that this just wasn't another Don Corleone, this wasn't just another Goodfellas or Scarface, this was deeper, this was more.
Yeah, this is an American dream story. They had their own American dream that came out of the failures in our country with systematic racism. They had their own different American dream and they went for it. And just learning just about how they were cultural icons. I've known about this project for a long time, just being in the world of power and being in stars for 10 years. But everybody has a different American dream and everybody has different role models. And so, wanting to really hit those proponents home and humanizing their choices and their journey too has been very important to us.
Absolutely. I think another thing that I like about it is that it has not been romanticized, but it has been humanized. And
Yes.
that, you see the positive and the negative attributes and the consequences of both.
Yes, absolutely. And I think what's interesting too is they were an organization that gave back, you know? They were taking the kids in the neighborhood to go see Sesame Street on ice. They'd get a bus, get everybody. They did give back to people. And if Meech saw someone had a real talent or a gift, he was fostering that, especially on the music side. So many artists were being taken advantage of by producers. And so this season, you get to see Meech and T investing in an artist who's not being treated well and really fostering a talent, that has nothing to do with drugs at all. They were helping someone else achieve their American dream.
Absolutely. And that's a good segue to my next point in terms of, as much as you can, talk about what the fans are going to get in season 4. I can't wait to see it. I've been watching all 3 seasons. Just a general overview of what fans
Okay.
can expect.
Okay, so our theme on set was Eye of the Tiger. So the expectation was everybody would come back better, stronger, faster. So you're going to see just everything is elevated from a storytelling, performance, production standpoint. And then our theme in the writer's room was the enemy within, which we thought was a great theme because we wrote to the physical threat of enemies within, but also emotionally, how the enemy within can lead to very self-destructive behavior that can be not only harmful to ourselves, but to others. And you're going to see that manifest itself between the brothers too.
Absolutely. And I forgot to add power to your to your illustrious career. But I guess, what is the reasonable expectation for fans to take away from the show? I know that, as artists, I'm a writer. I have an idea of what I want the readers to get out of it. What do you want the audience to get out of the entire 4 seasons, but particularly this upcoming season?
Just to be able to relate to our characters. All these themes are so universal, the themes of family, And so if our audience can see a little bit of themselves in some of these storylines or say, hey, you know what, I went through that, and also just enjoy themselves, want this to be appointment TV when this drops at midnight, you want people there and just to enjoy the ride. And it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that we put into this. I worked on this show 56 weeks for season 4, from start to finish, day one in the writer's room, through production, through
That's a long
wrapping.
time.
Yeah, wrapping post production. So I feel like it's our Super Bowl and our fans get to be in the stadium with us watching it all unfold, and cheering for our heroes and just having a great time, and being entertained and surprised.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, again, congratulations not only on the series, but also on your career. You need to bring Southland back. I need Southland.
Terry,
Okay, okay,
I
okay,
did a
maybe not.
no, Terry, I did a reboot of it with John Wells and we pitched it a year ago and there were no takers. So you're spot on.
Okay, absolutely. So yeah, I was closer than I thought. Okay. Well,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you very much. And blessings to a fourth season.
Thank you for being a fan and for watching too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Take care.
Take care.